Hello, good evening, and welcome to our front. Now, my guest today is a distinguished academic. When Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president, he was taken to the tourism ministry to be made deputy minister. Dr. Idi Ziblem is also a member of parliament, a seat that I'm sure he would like to retain. Doc, you're welcome to our front.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited. I've been watching your program, and I think you are doing a very good job.
Thank you so much. Now, let me get this issue started with. How is the constituency doing? How is life as a first-time MP?
Well, once again, thank you. I think, of course, moving from academia into politics, and more so coming from the political science department, one comes in with a certain mindset and background that allows you a certain perspective that maybe others who go in for the first time will not have. And so I will say that the past 3 years has been very exciting in terms of a learning process for me.
So this is real politics.
It's real politics. I tell people that the easier thing about politics is teaching politics.
Okay, that's interesting.
The heart and tumble of real politics is different from what we read and teach our students. But you are better positioned if you are really conversant and appreciate the nuances of what the science of politics is, and that is what I brought into office. The constituency is world. As a matter of fact, as I told you, I'll be leaving very soon to join them for the New Year celebration. It's a seat that is not quite safe for the MPP. In 7 elections, this is already the second time that we have won, so you can say it's 5-2. I want to, of course, consolidate it to be a safe seat for the MPP. And I think that in the last 3 years, we've done, well enough to gain the confidence of the people that going into 2020, inshallah, we should be able to retain the seat and consolidate the seat for the MPP. It will interest you to know in the whole of the 3 northern regions, Yende is the only safe seat for MPP.
That's interesting, yeah.
Not just northern region. Well, now all, 5 regions. In all the 5 regions, Yende is the only safe seat for the MPP. All other seats are swing seats. And so Gushewe is one of the swing seats, and we'll see. We'll try to consolidate and make it a safe seat for the NPP.
We'll see how it goes as you try to get a second term in this case. Now, let me move from the constituency to your position in the ministry. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Arts, this ministry has actually been in the news more recently, and this year perhaps is your year. Somewhat because of the declaration of the year of return. Where did that concept come from for those who have no idea as to how we decided to make this year the year of return?
Well, thank you for the question. I think that first of all, one must give credit to the president. His Excellency the President, first of all, for at least giving us opportunity to serve him at this ministry. But when I was asked to come and assist the then Honorable Catherine, we set out in 2017 to see what we could do to sort of bring more energy and revitalize the ministry. There were a lot going on, but not to the extent that one could say that Ghana was being seen as a preferred destination. Okay. So our attention from 2017 to 2018 was to really emphasize on branding and marketing.
Okay.
And this was missing. And for the first time, Ghana went on CNN and a lot of media, international media organizations were invited right through, especially in 2018, to do some coverage for us. But as we got into 2018, I will say somewhere around July, August, September, the whole thinking of the year of return came up. It started small, actually. We were just thinking about a one-off event, a homecoming sort of event. And keep in mind, the president, when we came into office in 2017, organized what was called the homecoming summit. And so building on that, but that was really focused on Ghanaian diaspora.
Yeah.
Now, we realized in 2018 that 2019 will be 400 years since the first slave left Jamestown, Accra, and landed in Jamestown, Virginia, in the Newfoundland. And we thought that it was an opportunity for Ghana to sort of create a platform for our brothers and sisters, our kith and kin, to be able to come back and commemorate this 400th anniversary. I am told in the Bible that there's actually a biblical, verses that speaks to the relevance of 400 years in terms of David or one of the prophets going back and leading his people. And so we thought about it. And so it started small somewhere in July, August. And then, of course, in September, when the president notify us, okay, every year the president goes to Washington in September, Washington and New York. He was actually going to New York for the UN summit. And Catherine hinted him that we're brainstorming this idea of the year of return.
Okay.
And we're supposed to launch it in September. So if the president will not mind, she will accompany him to New York, and then from New York they will proceed to Washington to launch it also in America, since we didn't want it to be just the Ghanaian diaspora, but also bringing the African American community on board. And the president, embrace it. And so September came. And between August and September, the GTA, CEO, and I have to give a lot of credit to him, went to the States and, did a lot of groundwork to prepare for the launching. And so went, Catherine went with the president and other people. They launched it there. I had a single opportunity of launching it in Ghana here, and they launched it in Washington. And this was with the full support, and that was the thing that we continue to give credit to the president, because then he used his office and liaised with the Congressional Black Caucus, a very powerful bloc in the U.S. Congress. And keep in mind, because this had to do with the United States, the U.S. Congress earlier on had actually passed an act allowing for the U.S. government to use state resources to sponsor year of return activities. So it's an act. And so that act was there. So when the president reached out to the Congressional Black Caucus, they come on the back of the act that they had already passed in the U.S. Congress, saw that, then it was appropriate for them to join. So they joined hands with the president, and they launched, that was September 2018, they launched 2019 Ghana Year of Return. And once it was launched, the question then was, so what next?
What do we do? So
the president came home and, with his leadership, he asked that the ministry should lead it, of course, with our implementing agency, the Ghana Tourism Authority. But because the president had a personal interest or wanted to take personal, interest in it, he assigned the office of the diaspora under the presidency to partner and collaborate with the Ghana Tourism Authority. And so Catherine put together a steering committee with co-chairs, Akwesi Ajiman, GTA Chief Executive, and then Akwesi Ababio, the director for the diaspora relations. So and then we put together a very formidable team. We had Diallo, Adinkra Group from Washington, who Akwesi had met out there, and he agreed to be our contact person there. We put him on the steering committee, and he's been very collaborative and cooperative, and very sacrificed a lot, coming back and forth at the meetings. And so if you look at the steering committee, we had very solid member, I think about 7 or 9 of them, Professor A.C. Sutherland, as part of it from the Panafest Foundation, Rabbi Cohen from the Panafest Foundation, and I mentioned, Diallo, of course, from Adinkra. So the steering committee, right from after the lunch, started meetings, and of course the ministry was, supervising and having oversight responsibility. And by November and entering December 2018, we had things falling in place as to what we really wanted to do. So the question then was, how do you bring attention to this? Because it was now an in-house thing. And Catherine took the decision, and all credit to him, that we should get celebrities from the United States and from the African diaspora to come to what we called Full Cycle, December.
Full cycle.
2018.
Okay.
Yes, and that was to get them to come around the period of the festivities, that's, Christmas festivities, and let them bring attention to Ghana in 2018, so that when they are coming back in 2019, people will, they have following. So once they are in Ghana, December 2018, and people are following them, if they go back and they are marketing or talking about coming back to Ghana because of the year of return, April. And that, for me, I think if you ask me what was the singular thing that actually brought us this far as to where we are, I will say that, first of all, the launch by the President, His Excellency, in September 2018, but more so, the visit to Ghana in December 2018 by Boris Kujo, Naomi Campbell, Anderson, A.J. Johnson, A.J. White. I mean, you are a media person, so you were following the activity. Yes. So they went around, and as they were going around, they were tweeting, and they have so many followings. And so by close of 2018, before we even got to 2019, the year of return was trending.
Okay.
And so when we entered 2018, January 2018, we had lined up programs and activities, and we kept it open. So if you had anything, you could bring it, and we'll see if it fits into
the plans.
So it started building slowly from January with activities, here and there, and by June, July, it started picking steam. But we kept telling people, and anytime we had meetings here, I will say that, look, the peak of the year of return is going to be Panafest. We're tying everything to Panafest and emancipation. We normally will do Panafest in July and then enter emancipation 1st August. And lo and behold, that was it. So that was another high point. So if you look at the launch of the event in September 2018.
The previous year.
In September 2018. The full cycle in December 2018. And I will say the next stage was July, August, September. And again, in July, at the end of July, for the first time, the president participated at Panafest because we linked it to the year of return, and he agreed, and he knew why we were doing this.
You've mentioned Panafest 7 times so far. But the accusation from your opponent is that this year of return is a deliberate quest to kill a very wonderful initiative, Panafest. So you are seen as promoting your own program. You've heard that, right?
Well, I'm actually hearing it for the first time.
Oh, I see.
It's unfortunate when people, and if you permit me, and you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
In America, we have what we say, partisanship ends at the water's edge. That is, on matters of foreign policy, when they get to the water's edge, America is an island. So when they are crossing into Europe, into Asia, into Africa, into anywhere, they forget about partisanship. The year of return is an international affair. It's Ghana's foreign policy, if you like, Ghana's economic diplomacy of attracting people to come on the back of tourism. And so if anybody wants to talk about it, I would rather they talked about it in a bipartisan way, in a non-partisan way, than trying to see where somebody is doing to take credit or not. I'm surprised I'm hearing it for the first time, but I must say
the Panafest point.
I will address it. I just want to make a point that it was the ranking member on Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament who actually made the statement on the year of return, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto, on the year of return. And when I was contributing to the statement, I really commended him because then you didn't expect somebody from the other side to be so excited about a government policy. But I think he comes to it and appreciate from what I was telling you, that this is a foreign policy that should not be politicized. Now, on the particular issue of Panafest, if anybody will say that the year of return has come to kill Panafest, they should look at Professor A.C. Sutherland Adi.
She's on the steering committee.
Her mother,
Yes.
Efua Sutherland Adi, was the mother of Panafest. She gave birth to Panafest. She started it all. And, you know, thank God, you know, the daughter is doing so marvelously protecting the legacy of the mother. As we speak, Panafest Foundation is a non-governmental organization. Okay. It's a foundation, but they work with the ministry when it comes to organizing Panafest. And I think if anybody wants to be assured that the year of return did not come to kill Panafest, I'm telling you that the Panafest 2019 was a high point, one of the high points of the year of return. And we are going to build on it. As a matter of fact, in 2018, Catherine actually announced that instead of doing Panafest biannual, we want to do Panafest every year.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I believe that the Beyond the Return will have space for that.
For Panafest.
And for Panafest. You know, one of the points of the Beyond the Return is actually to create what we call, we'll come to that, I will give you
yes, I'll come to that.
But let nobody think or say that the president launched the year of return to kill Panafest. Panafest has come to say it is a festival that we in Ghana are proud of, whether you are in power or you are out of power, because it projects what our founding fathers, especially the first President Kwame Nkrumah, stood for.
Okay.
Ghana leading in Pan-Africanism.
That's true.
And so Ghana is uniquely positioned to be the country to have Panafest as a festival celebrating.
But you would admit that Year of Return has had better publicity, has had better attraction, and has had better kind of attention than Panafest.
So Panafest is a one-off event.
It is, actually.
The Year of Return is a process.
It's a series of events.
It's a series of events and a process. And so if you look at the Year of Return, if you compare January 2019 to July, which was Panafest month, you will say Panafest was bigger than January 2019,
okay. Yeah, that's
or
true.
February 2019, or April 2019. So people are now seeing the Year of Return as being bigger than Panafest because it's coming full cycle.
That's true.
And so the processes and events that has accumulated to get us to where we are, yes, of course, and I think it will be comparing apples to oranges if anybody wants to compare Panafest to Year of Return. So Panafest was one of the events of the Year of Return.
We couldn't have subsumed Year of Return under Panafest.
Exactly as I said, if you were to think of it universal, mathematically, the Year of Return was a universal set, and Panafest is a subset of that universal set.
Interesting.
Except to say that it was an important subset. As I mentioned so far, I've mentioned 3 high points. It was an important subset.
We'll go to Beyond the Year of Return. Now, was the plan of the Year of Return just to attract people into the country? Was that all?
Good question. Good question. And I don't fault people when they say, why, because I was listening to some commentary and people would say, oh, why did the president wait till December to launch the Beyond the Return and talk about other things when everything should have been incorporated into the Year of Return? Now, keep in mind, and I said this when I contributed to the statement in Parliament, even when the president launched the Year of Return, when the ministry with the president and the Ghana Tourism Authority and the diaspora, office started preparation and planning towards the year, those who got wind of it were actually questioning the wisdom behind Ghana declaring a year to celebrate the horrific event of slavery. That we shouldn't be celebrating slavery. And so the sensitivity of the Year of Return itself has to always be at the back of your mind when you organize programs and all of that. That you don't want the African American or the black diaspora in general to think that you were launching the Year of Return solely for economic reasons.
I see.
To cash on whatever, on the unfortunate past. So
Mindful
what
of
the
the
president, just sensitivity.
yeah.
So the president's intent of launching the Year of Return 2019 was to create a platform for our brothers and sisters, our kith and kin from the Black African diaspora to have the opportunity to come to Ghana and touch with their spirits, the spirits of their ancestors. And so that offers them opportunity, if you like, to heal, if you like, to go through some therapy. And that was all that we set out to do for 2019. Create opportunity, a platform for our kith and kin to be able to come so that the whole year will offer people opportunity to travel to Ghana and go through the processes that will assure them their roots and then get the spirits of their ancestors and go back and continue the resilience of the African.
So we did not intend to attract investors.
I will come there. I'm saying the intent of the president.
Yeah.
And of course, if the president was executing this intent through a ministry, which is the Ministry of Tourism, which has its objectives, and the president has set out a vision for this ministry. Of course, the ministry will capitalize on their presence here to arrange tour operators for them to, and of course, we have been lucky that in Ghana, and you don't find that in many countries, that the ministry has oversight responsibility over not just tourism, but culture, creative arts. And embedded in culture is our heritage sites. Yeah. And so the Ghana Museum and Monument Boards are an agency, under the Ministry of Tourism. So if these people were coming to Ghana to touch base with the spirits of their ancestors, of course, what is the best place to take them then where their ancestors passed through? And so we prepared Asin Mansu, where the last bath took place, and we prepared the two castles, Cape Coast and Almina, for them to go through and you can see the emotion, you can see the spiritual experience. I had opportunity of talking to a lot of them as they come by, and they will tell you that coming to Ghana was like a pilgrimage, that they felt like they were coming for a certain religious, quote unquote, if you like, inspiration and a spiritual reawakening. And a lot of them, as emotional as they will get, once they calm down and they get through it, they begin to reflect and they go back with a certain vibe that will really prepare them for the rest of their lives. And so this was it. But as to why didn't we along the way talked about other things, we didn't want anything to take the shine out of the main purpose for doing this. And I commend the president, and I thank the president for his leadership, and especially for his guidance on this particular score, because especially the African American, the other black diaspora may be less sensitive. The African American is very sensitive to anybody trying to take advantage of their past to cash on it. But so because we didn't do that, they come in and they are now telling us, going forward, what can we do? Going forward, what can we do? And it's been a very exciting year. And I must say that the dividends of 2019 is yet to be counted, but when the balance sheet is prepared.
Already, you have been putting out some figures.
Yes.
Figures about 1.9, 1.
Well, and maybe, billion. Let me, because I have not commented on this publicly before.
Clarification.
Let me clarify that.
It's been disputed as mere fabrication.
When you are focused in delivering on an agenda,
yes,
you don't want to be distracted by naysayers. Even if certain information are put out there and they don't understand why they are put out or appreciate why they are put out. I think it's better for them to be better educated about the information before they start, throwing out criticisms and all of that. My understanding, I actually was out of the country when the minister went to, commission one of our, new developed sites, not new, but very, very, improved sites at Anumabu, and she made reference to a $1.9 billion dollars. Now, this is the deal. I'm not sure because, like I said, I've not read the direct speech, whether it was an interview or it was a prepared speech.
She did it at the press, Meet the Press series.
Oh, no, the Meet the Press, I was sitting there.
Okay.
And that one point. No, it came up even before we did the Meet the Press. Now, what's the minister, whoever put it, whether it was a prepared speech or it was an interview, and let me just take opportunity and clarify. We have in Ghana a GDP. I can't give you the exact figures, but I just want you to appreciate that every country has what we call GDP. And your GDP is, the sum of the contribution of your various sectors of your economy. That brings up to the GDP. The tourism sector contributes also to the GDP. And the figures we have is between 3 to 6%. I can't give you exact figure, but between
which period are we looking at in this case?
2018, 2018.
I can't recall the last time we did a tourism satellite account. So
yes, so 2010, I think.
2010. But that's very far from now.
No, but you
is
can
the
always
base for the estimation?
Yeah, well, you have a baseline, and you can
see.
always do extrapolation, and that's not just Ghana. That's what people do everywhere in the world. You can't get real-time data to do these projections, and so you have to project. As a matter of fact, I think when we did the women's empowerment, the vice president indicated that tourism contributes about 6% to our GDP.
Interesting.
Yes, if you look at
just like gold alone.
Yeah. So if you and it's huge, and I will come and explain why we are projecting 3 to 6%. So if you take Ghana's GDP, and you calculate 3 to 6% of Ghana's GDP, you are most likely to get around the figure that the minister talked about. So the minister, was not saying that the year of return alone has brought $1.9 billion to our economy.
Really?
She was saying that tourism, the year of return for 2019,
as you rightly said,
the entire sector. If anybody is talking about tourism, the year of return for 2019 was the center. So if she was talking or they were interviewing her about the year of return and she mentioned that figure, she probably was talking about the contribution of the entire tourism sector. And why will she be right in saying that? Because the year of return has come to touch every facet of this sector.
But it's not synonymous with the sector.
No, it's not. No. But I think when you came in, you rightly said that the biggest thing about tourism this year is the year of return.
Yes.
So if you were to do the math, the year of return would probably be over 70 to 80% contribution of tourism into the economy. I mean, its impact. So and I think the mistake that the critics were making was that they were thinking the minister was simply referring to the receipts from people who come and then go. No. She was actually talking about in economics, we have what we call the vibrating effect of a variable. And so if there is a variable called the year of return, what is the vibrating effect of that variable on the immediate ecosystem of tourism? And I will say to you that it's been huge. Our hotels, our restaurants, our arts and craft, the arts center. Yesterday I was watching TV and they will tell you. And
I want you to, since you're clarifying it, can you pick out the receipts for tourism alone, for year of return alone, and stipulate specifically how much that has brought in so far? So you can even do first 3 quarters of the year.
I think I mentioned this in Parliament, and so Parliament is a house of records. You can go and check. I said that by September 2019, we recorded 750,000 inbound arrivals.
Okay.
Because of the year of return. So somebody can do the math. The calculation is that each and every one of these tourists will spend average of $2,500
Okay.
2,500
okay.
dollars. So you can do the math. I don't want to start counting my eggs before
they are hatched.
They are hatched, and so but for people like you, we'll have to give you what has been the data that we have.
Yes.
As I indicated, you can get real-time data on this. As we are speaking right now, there is spending going on
I get your
because
point.
of the year of return. So let everybody just calm down. Let those who misconstrued the minister's statement as meaning that the receipt from the year of return is $1.9 billion to be educated that that was not the intent of the minister, and that was not the message that she wanted to carry across. The message, if there's a $1.9 billion mentioned anywhere, my understanding will be that it will be in reference to the contribution of the tourism sector to Ghana's GDP.
Based on this.
And for this year, because the year of return was central in everything tourism in Ghana, you can tie it into it and say that the year of return has led to tourism contributing $1.9 billion to Ghana's GDP.
Doc, I'll take a break. After this break, Dr. Idris Iblem will break down beyond year of return for us to appreciate and understand. Welcome back. We left off the first half of this conversation counting the costs of the year of return and clarifying what has been the controversy over some $1.9 billion this has been perceived to be received so far. But as the Deputy Minister, Dr. Idris Iblem, has just clarified, it is the tourism's contribution to the entire economy that the minister made reference to. Of course, this also, as he says, is because we have had year of return predominating that particular tourism sector. Now, I want us to move beyond these figures to have a conversation about what was recently launched, the beyond the year of return. So now we have reconnected celebrities and other people with their souls, with their ancestors. And recently I heard a gentleman who came in as part of this delegation saying that he's been reconnected. He came to pay homage to his ancestors. Now, beyond this, what's the big deal?
Yeah, so thank you. That's what you hear when you talk to them, that they, especially for those coming for the first time, they felt like they actually have really, have had the experience. And in tourism, when we say experience, how is your take of what you came to see?
That's true.
Generally. And I think it's been very positive. So the whole concept and idea behind the Beyond the Return, I will say, came out of the various interactions and feedback that we started getting, if you like, from July, August, September, in the run-up to November. Because after Panafest emancipation, we had what we call Jamestown to Jamestown. And, I had a single opportunity of welcoming in one day 250 African Americans in one charter flight, South Africa Airlines, and they were coming from Jamestown to Jamestown. That was when Daniel Glover, he came with that group, and the NAACP, president was on that group. So we realized that talking to them and getting the feedback, they didn't want this to end. They really wish the year of return or 2019 would just continue and continue and continue. So, but we knew that calendar-wise,
we didn't have a plan for it, for extension. We didn't have
I'm coming. I'm saying the feedback.
Yeah, because you are saying that
from gender.
Beyond the return is flowing out of feedback.
Out of the year of return, of course. The Beyond the Return.
Because we had no intentions of doing Beyond the Return in the first place.
Oh, no, it's not about whether we had intent or not.
Okay.
So how about even if we had intent and the year of return was a failure?
Of course, you could have proceeded with it, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about that. But I don't want you to say that we didn't plan.
Afterthought.
No, that's the point. It was when you make policy is dynamic and based on feedback.
You make changes.
So, exactly.
Okay.
So let me address the Beyond the Return now. And so when we crystallize things and said, no, this thing should not be like the Joseph Project. this thing should not be like a one-off project. So I'm saying, even if we had that intent in January, the discussions and serious thinking into it was more, if you like, gain currency, getting into July, August, September, thereabout. But, to cut it short, the President, His Excellency, on Friday, launched the Beyond the Return. And the whole idea of the Beyond the Return was so that we will go beyond the sentiment, the sentimentality. So if you see, the whole thing about the year of return was about experience. And experience comes with emotions, with sentiment, and so you want to see what you can get beyond that or out of that. And so we mentioned to the President, the GTA and our implementing agencies came around. The minister went and had a word with the President, and the President embraced that. And so we then had to allow the President to develop the concept along with our implementing agencies and the ministry. And by, I will say, October ending into November, we had clear, and what I'm giving you the timelines just in terms of the main issues that the year Beyond the Return is about going to be about. So what the President launched was to allow that there will be a decade instead of a year of allowing or creating platform for our kith and kin to want to come and explore beyond the experience. And so we put together a 7-point agenda. I'm not sure if I can remember everything, but the foremost among them is diaspora investment promotion. That was the first thing that the President said, that, the Beyond the Return, the 10-year agenda should give us opportunity to attract the African-American, investment. And African-American economy alone is about a $12 billion economy, and it's continuing, it's building up. So to tap into that, the first point was that. The second point was citizenship. And as you saw, the President giving citizenship, awarding citizenship to 126. As a matter of fact, we had 200, but we're screening them and going through the process. By the time that the President saw that we had the 126 that were screened properly, background checked and ready for the swearing in. So we had that done. So it's going to be the project. And on that score, the intent of the President is to at least get close to 5,000 citizenship to the black, no, 500, I think, 500 citizenship to our blacks in the black every year for the next 10 years. Yeah, so that in 10 years, you would have gotten 5,000. Exactly. So every year to get 500. So that's the second project. The third project is the diaspora visa project. It's been difficult, getting visa coming into Ghana. And so we want to come on the back of the year of return, see how we can build on really making it easy, especially for the black diaspora. So not all of them can get citizenship, but for those who want to come back and forth, for the processes to make easier for them. There is this Pan-African village that I mentioned earlier on, is also another point that we want to do. So to once again reposition Ghana as our founding fathers, did, as the Mecca for black people to come. Nkrumah was thinking about African, but now we want to go beyond Africa and the black diaspora. So that's Pan-Africanism, and get the NAACP and all, black, organizations all across the world to buy into that. So we want to look at the possibility of developing what we call a Pan-African village in Ghana, to use that as a tourist destination. And lastly, let me say, and most importantly, to again, on the back of the year of return, built on branding, marketing, and advertising. That's the 7th point. Branding, marketing, and advertising Ghana as the most preferred tourist destination in West Africa.
Even with the underdeveloped tourist sites?
We'll come there. And, you know, we, as you probably have heard it, we have been fortunate, and I was telling Catherine before she left that I think the two of us, when we came here, will say that we have been the most luckiest for tourism ministers that has passed through the ministry. Jake, you can't take anything away. He's a foremost tourism, but he wasn't as lucky as we are because he was not elevated to a cabinet status. When
So
we came in right away,
now?
yeah. Catherine was sitting at cabinet, Barbara is sitting at the Honorable Barbara, the Honorable Catherine, they sit in cabinet. So it's a cabinet ministry now. And then for the first time in the history of this ministry and the history of tourism, we have attracted a $40 million World Bank, support. And we are devoting a chunk of that to develop our tourist sites. And so as we go into the Beyond the Return branding, so there's a chunk for that marketing, but there's a lot, and we've already started actually. If you go to Kintempo, it's not the Kintempo that we inherited.
Have you done the Kakum Road? If you,
so that's a project that the president has asked the road minister. As a matter of fact, the instruction went out even before Catherine left to adopt what we call tourism routes. And the Kakung Road is #1. It's going to be done.
So when is it going to be done?
I'm not the road minister, so I can't put timelines.
No, but because you are actually in the known of what's happening.
What I can tell you is that the President, His Excellency, has instructed the Minister of Tourism to liaise with the Minister of Roads to identify what the President coined tourism routes.
Okay.
And the Kakung Road is #1 on that list.
But we don't know when it's going to be done.
It will be done once it is under the instructions of the President.
This year or next year? Because this is the last
this year, it will be done before the end of
2020.
I think
now,
so, yes.
I've heard and read that $6 million has been spent so far on year of return.
Yes.
Is it true?
6 million Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis, yes. How much was budgeted for it?
So the year of return secretariat, as I said, was under the auspices of the ministry. And the Ghana Tourism Authority and the Diaspora Office were the ones that were tasked to implement the whole project.
I get you.
So
your ministry was given 75 million.
Yes.
I have just checked from your budget detail.
Yes, and I must say that this year it has increased to over 100 million.
Oh, you had more than the amount?
Since 2017, this president has been increasing our budget. I told you we are the most luckiest minister to have come.
But what I checked was 75 million for your ministry.
For 2018. I mean for 2019. Yes. Yeah, for 2019.
75 million.
Yes.
My question is that you spent 6 million out of this 75 million on year of return, right?
So far, yes. That's the figure that, and again, as I told you earlier on, I am one person who will rather wait for some of these figures to be properly collected and then come officially for us to begin to use them.
So when people question
but what I can say,
use of the money, insisting that
I'm coming.
Yeah,
what I can say is that if anybody sit down to do cost-benefit analysis of the year of return, even our hardest critic will tell you that you could not, that the benefits of the year of return is priceless. You can't even put a price.
I get you. The value is big.
It's big.
I'm just asking myself. So what?
So which means if it is 6 million that has been spent so far, it's value for money. Marketing.
Like
branding.
Specific words.
Oh, I told you
we put
that
up billboards
or
we went to external TV stations to pay for it.
So when you see Ghana being advertised on CNN, on Al Jazeera, on all the major news outlets, somebody has to pay for it. I was just talking to the Central Regional Minister. I was in Central Cape Coast yesterday. That on any given Super Bowl day, a 15-second advert will cost you $1 million.
Yes, I'm told so.
A 15 seconds. And then you have a whole speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, in Ghana, and given opportunity to address the Parliament of Ghana, and the international media is covering.
Now, I get a particular point, and I'm wrapping up on this note, and I want to know, beyond year of return, beyond year of return, what else has been happening in this ministry that had a lot of ambition, including a lot of buildings across the districts of this country?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. A lot has been happening, except to say that maybe we ourselves have not been telling our stories as Kufuor indicated at the MPP delegates conference.
Okay.
The Minister of Tourism is, if you like, symptomatic of the government, that we have not been telling our stories well the way we should. If you look at the sector, we have the industry includes creative arts, culture, and tourism. And the creative arts sector is so broad. And I tell you what, Mark Okriokumante, the president of the Creative Arts Council, has done so well, but because he doesn't talk, and I like his style, because that's my style, he's focused. He's focused.
He
Never
talks,
in the history.
actually.
Well, he talks when he's prompted
on radio
to talk.
virtually
on
all
radio.
the time.
But yeah, when he's prompted to
I work
talk.
with him, I understand.
Yeah, but if I say he doesn't talk, I'm saying for his radio listeners, yes, he talks.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that
It's happening
under the creative arts.
Like
that people are
what?
saying, so why are you not doing this?
So specifically what's happening at the Creative Arts Council?
He has instituted what we call a masterclass. And this masterclass is not just a local project, it's an international project. As we speak, I think he probably has been back just from India. For the first time in a long time, we've had Spain, India, which other countries? Are there? 3 countries that are partnering with his council to send people, Ghanaian artists, to Spain. You know, I think about 6 groups. And these are cultural groups.
They have sent people already.
They were there for a whole month. And they were touring Spain, playing Ghanaian high life music, typical local Ghanaian. And they came in, we did a competition for them to select, you know, those that were in, you know, if you like, indigenous or authentic Ghanaian music. And they
Won't
went
you
out
agree that the success
He
or the
went
lack
to
thereof
India,
of
Bollywood.
this council will be how many young budding artists has been developed,
And
some
that's why I'm coming today.
Okay.
Because then these 6 groups that were taken there are not your Sarkodiyes or your Stone Boys or your Shatta Wallace. No, these are people in Choco, in Teshi, in Nungua who are doing their own thing at the local level. And the Spanish government, we call it Casa Africa, you know, working with the Spanish embassy. And we did a 2-day, if you like, talent contest. 12 groups came, we selected 6. When the 6 went there, they said that the other 6 should come next time around because they were so excited in terms of the place that they took them. But that's one thing, the film industry.
Yeah.
As I said, he probably is back, but as I think he was in India for a while working on, you know, the film industry.
Okay.
And just last week, the president sworn in the Film Authority Board.
Yeah.
And that is going to kickstart the whole thing, film industry, in terms of we have 2 personalities that have been positioned.
It has not happened. We have to separate the 2. It is going to happen. Currently, it has not happened.
No. So you have to appreciate the importance or significance of the Film Authority.
We always
and the Film
set up authorities.
Authority being in place.
We have always had councils and groupings like that, committees of a sort.
And that's
what
where,
people want to see is the fruits of these institutions.
That's where I was getting to in terms of the personalities.
Okay.
So you have set up the Film Authority, and you have brought in David Donto. You have put in Juliet Asante as the executive, you know, secretary. And these are people coming from the industry and have succeeded in the industry in their own right. Juliet Asante, you know, has in her own way.
She's without doubt having competence in the area.
David,
I am looking forward to when you can report to me and say that we've done this with that particular authority. It has secured this number of rights and done these things.
Let's give them the next 6 months to 12 months.
Okay.
And see when you begin to see the fruits of the authority.
This film authority, when are we going to get them telling us, the people of this republic, that these are the successes we've chalked so far? As for committees, we've always formed them, haven't we?
Yeah. So, well, as a committee is different from authority. Authority comes with mandate.
Yes.
And when we say mandate, Parliament passed an act, and they put in that act certain things that the authority should do.
Okay.
Without the authority being in place, you can't do those things. Now that we have the authority in place, the fund will come from it, and the authority will set out their vision, and which I know they have already done, and then following from there, we'll see the activities.
So when will we see results from this authority?
So I said that it will not be fair to Juliet or David to expect results in 3 months.
But they have objectives.
Yeah, so
when
they have
are we going to see them materialize these
I believe that in the next 3 to 6 months, you will see the industry coming around in terms of focus, in terms of the objectives, the clear objectives, and then the deliverables.
Okay.
So, but beyond 6 months, that's when you begin to see the fruits of
the issues raised about the Creative Arts Council not having any legal backing. Has it been resolved?
I was just this morning when I came, as you came, you saw me going through my file. One of the things that was in my file was the draft bill from the Attorney General office. The
now
bill,
going to go to cabinet.
Well, cabinet has already approved.
Oh,
but cabinet and again the president was very instrumental. As a matter of fact, when it came back here, we had a commentary as to who said what should be done. The president took interest, so we took it to the AG to accommodate the cabinet's concerns. Now they have brought it back, and so when we come back to Parliament in January, it will be one of the bills that will pass.
Go to Parliament.
It will pass.
It will pass
in the next because we're waiting for the AG to bring. And as I said, I just saw the AG's final draft. They are asking if we have comment, but I've gone through it. The minister will take a look at it. If we don't have any comment, then we'll ask the AG to put it together in January, and then we'll pass it.
Marine Drive project, when is it going to be done?
Good, thank you for this opportunity. And it's a shame that we are running out of time, because this is one of the biggest projects that is under the ministry.
Which has been on the drawing board since the 1990s.
Since 1960s.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
that makes the point for me.
Oh, yes.
So I'm asking you, when are we going to do it?
We have started doing it. And that's why I'm saying to you that sometimes it's better for us to stay focused. No, if I say we started doing it, projects is not just about building.
Yeah, but I want to see fiscal infrastructure on the ground.
You see it next
Which year?
I believe that
2020.
by end of second quarter of 2020, you would have seen,
fiscal infrastructure.
Oh, yes.
When is the project going to be completed?
Oh, the project was supposed to complete, I think it had a 5-year lifespan or so. I'm not sure. But I wouldn't say we are within schedule.
Okay.
Of course, we are behind schedule. But I wouldn't also say that we have gone out of, so that we cannot deliver on it. The important thing, when I say it is ongoing, is that the infrastructure is being prepared.
Okay.
The anchor developer is on site. He has cleared enough grounds, and there are so many things that we had to get over before you can properly get investors to start. But I can tell you that by the second quarter, by the end of the second quarter of next year, so even by June, July next year, you will have seen some infrastructure taking place there. As we speak now, I don't want to mention names, but we have about 3 interests that we've gone through so many stages in terms of the processes.
Oh, and David Ajayi and Co.
Oh, no, so that's a consultant. So they have done it.
They have done their job.
If I say 3, I'm talking about people putting up structures.
Oh, okay.
And they have gone through the consultants, they have looked at the master plan. We are fitting what they want to do in the master plan. We've gone through the lands commission to do, everything. And so let's see by end of second quarter. This project is a huge project, and you want to be sure how you go about it. David Ajayi and Co. have to take their time to revive whatever master plan that we inherited, for it to be fit for purpose, because the president had certain ideas that we had to incorporate the big 6, just behind the Independence Square, and so the design and everything, and they have done a very good job. It's a very, if you like, beautiful artwork that if we are able to put up the place, Ghana, the landscape of Ghana's, city will be changed.
I don't have time, but thank you so much for your time today. I'm sure in the future we can have subsequent follow-up interviews on this matter. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you for the opportunity, and let me once again congratulate you for a good job done. I watched your series, and I think we have to encourage people like you to continue doing the good work that you are doing.
I want to believe that you trained me well.
Yes,
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Yes.